Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you today with us. This is the fourth webinar we have in this year, in 2023. I'm so glad to have with me an AReTwinning and an Erasmus ambassador. I'm also very, very grateful for you being here, for constantly being together with our group, all constantly, even in hard times, even when the group was not working properly. Just a short reminder before I present you the expert invited today that the group is already on the new platform, and hopefully you have discovered it. And if you haven't, I will share the link with you so that you can also join there again or join for the first time if you haven't before. Today with us, we have Adriana Lefter. She's, as I already mentioned, an AReTwinning ambassador, an Erasmus ambassador. She's a headmaster, a school principal, and she's very, very involved in AReTwinning projects. She's an awarded AReTwinner. She's very involved in Erasmus activities as part of her school's work. They have just applied for the European school label. They are an AReTwinning school. And I will let Adriana tell you a few words about herself before she starts her presentation. Today, she will try to inspire you to speak about competencies for AReTwinning and Erasmus projects. And I will try to focus a little bit on action research since you requested this topic. And I will try to share with you an example of how we wrote, of how we presented our action research we have done as part of one Key Action 2 project that we have just finalized this year. Once again, thank you for your energy, for your willingness to be here to participate. And I am presenting Adriana Lefter and thanking her for her time. Adriana, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Emese, for everything you have told about me. Yes, it is a lot of passion here. It is a lot of years. I started AReTwinning in 2010. And since then, I always do AReTwinning. And after I passed to the second step to Erasmus. And I'm very happy that this was the community that we have met, Emese. And here in AReTwinning, we have a lot of friends, AReTwinners, and we think and we feel the same. And always we are ready to be here for everyone that need inspire, need new ideas and practices to apply in their classes. And thank you very much for your invitation, Emese. Even if this year I don't have any Erasmus, I have 1 year of break. I have a lot of experience to share with you. So I will start to share the screen. Okay, and I will start to talk about some idea that I want to present you here, and this is about K competencies. I think a lot when Emese sent me the question about the topic of the webinar, what I have to present to you. And I decided to share an experience about K competencies because we have a lot of projects implemented, a lot of AReTwinning. Since in 2010, we have implemented more than 60 AReTwinning projects in our school, because in my school we are two AReTwinning ambassadors, and we collaborate, and we have done a lot of activities and projects. And in 2016 we start with Erasmus, but I have to tell you that all our Erasmus projects are also on AReTwinning, because we can make a separation between the activities. So we implement and we go on with the collaboration on the AReTwinning platform. And as I told you before, I will talk to you now about the key competencies. And I think about AReTwinning is an ideal context for school collaboration. Since I have started in 2010, I have met a lot of teachers, and I learned a lot of them. From the beginning, I have to tell you that I developed my key competencies related with the activities that I have to apply in class with my students. And I will start to one of the most important competence that we have to develop to our students, and this is literacy competence. And I want to share you some information and some idea about one of our project that is an AReTwinning, the Very Hungry Bookworm, that win also the first prize 2 years ago in a national competition in AReTwinning in Romania. And this project was about a bookshelves in a library. Our project was divided in 8 books, big books, 8 topics: English, science, STEM, personal development, physical education, math, music, and art. And using these topics, we read books, and we have done a lot of activities. For example, in the book, when we start to read the book in the bookshelf of English, we read the story of Thanksgiving, tofu breakfast, a history lesson learned. It was very interesting because the topic of the story was about one boy that didn't want to eat what his mother prepared to breakfast, and it was and students learn a lot about the importance of Thanksgiving. And after starting from this story with our students, we create books because you have here, I'm a book writer. Yes, we was book writers using different words from the story that we have read. We create different story using Story Jumper, and each student from our classes create and was writers of books. Another experience in this project about literacy competence was to create stories about using story cubes. I'm sure you know what is story cubes. They are very interesting and give you a lot of opportunities to make different activities with students. For example, this one is about action, but there is other 2 or 3 with different story cubes, and the students choose different cubes and can, using the images, can create stories. But we have also some online story cubes. I want to present you. Look, here are some story cubes that our students create using their drawings. And each country have 6 words, and using these 6 words, we create a chapter of a book. And this is a tool with which you can create the cube, the story cube. So it is very motivated for the students because their drawings are here. So it can be an option for you to use this idea. And maybe the best activities that we have done, it was to read a book that I will present you later, and also to meet the writer of the book. Beck Ferry, it is the writer of the book Stick and Stone. I will tell you later about this book because I will present you when we talk about the personal development competence. And we have a meeting with the book writer. Our students were very, very enthusiastic to meet the writer of the book. So I suggest you, if you can, invite online the writer and to read the book with your student. It is a great, great experience. And students was more than delightful and enthusiastic to meet. And I forgot to tell you when I talk about story cubes that after the students create the stories using the story cubes, we have presented using Kamishibai. Kamishibai is a Japanese theater. It is a technique of Japanese theater. Students create the story. After they create drawings, and using this Kamishibai, they tell the story to others. In this way, they exercise also the creativity to write the story, and also they exercise the speaking. And they become more confident when they are able to present in front of the others. This is all about literacy competence that we have done in this project, the Very Hungry Bookworm. And now we go on with the multilingual competence because this is very related with literacy competence. We can separate them because in AReTwinning, it is very important, and they are more, these two competences are very connected because in AReTwinning, we have to use different languages and students develop their this skill to use English. So it is very important for students to develop their vocabulary and verbal interaction. Here, it is a photo from our video conferences because we have done a lot of this kind of meetings and we put students to ask and to answer. This competence requires knowledge of vocabulary and functional grammatical of different languages and an awareness of the main types of verbal interaction and registers of languages. Knowledge of societal convention and the cultural aspects and variability of languages is very important. Essential skill for this competence consists in the ability to understand spoken messages. So that's why we put students in a lot of situations to listen and to understand spoken messages, but also to initiate, to sustain, and to conclude conversation and to read, understand text with different labels of language according to the individual's needs. A positive attitude involves the appreciation of cultural diversity, an interest and curiosity about different languages and intercultural connection. So, as I told you before, it is very important to understand spoken messages. If you see here, it is a yoga meeting. We have done a yoga meeting with the specialist in the project that I have told you before, the Very Hungry Bookworm. We have done also physical education. And in this topic, we learn how we can do a correct yoga for relaxation. So students have to be very, very quiet and attend to listen very well what the experts told us. And we have to do different to exercise different position, to make some exercise. And this project was we developed when we are at home during the pandemic. So every student was at home. We aren't at school to translate, to somebody to translate to them. So they have to understand the spoken messages, and also to sustain and conclude conversation. As I told you before, we have done during the project, the Very Hungry Bookworm, meetings with experts and with book writers. So here you have some images from the meeting with Beth Ferry, the book writer, but also we have meeting with a scientist that live in America, and they have studying animals from savannah. And students ask her about the experience with animals, and what to have to do during the day, what was the best and the worst experience in savannah, in the jungle. So they are very, very enthusiastic to ask, and we discover this person very available to answer to students. And also we have a meeting with a musician. It was from Republic of Moldova, and he conducted the orchestra of Republic of Moldova, the musician. So he also give the students a lot of answers. We have meeting with the yoga expert. So put students in this situation, and they discover also the need to know English or other language, not only English, but also they become so confident, they are able to ask, and they are able to discuss with a person who speak only a different language from him. And now I will go on with competence and we are talking now about the mathematical science, technology, and engineering competence. So you understand that we are talking now about the STEM competence. It was my preferred, I can say. I discovered this methodology in 2016 when I have started with our first Erasmus. And since then, I applied as much as I can, because our students need to be in contact with the natural, with the real, not with theory. We learn also theoretical aspect, but we also implement in practice. So for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, essential knowledge comprises the basic principle of the natural world, fundamental scientific concept, theory, principle, and methods. And methods, technology and technological products and processes are well and an understanding of the impact of science, technology, engineering, and human activity in general on the natural world. These competencies should enable individuals to better understand the advances, limitation, and the risk of scientific theories, application, and technology in society at large, in relation to decision-making, values, moral question, cultures, and something like this. And skills in STEM include the understanding of science as a process of investigation. You can see here some investigation that I have done with my students. All these images are from activities that I have done with my students. including observation and control experiments, the ability to use logical and rational through to verify hypotheses, and the readiness to discard one's own conviction when they contradict new experimental findings. Competence include an attitude of critical appreciation and curiosity. Students have to become curious. Thinking of this, I was with my students. You can see that they wear masks. We here in these activities, we are in after the pandemic when we return at school. We go to investigate water. We learn about water in science. So we go near a lake. We take from the lake different, we take water and we measure the temperature, if the water is clear. We discover the life, what kind of life we discover in water. And after we come back to school and using the microscope, we analyze very, very well if we find something. So students was very enthusiastic to go there to real life, to connect with to stay there near the water and to see insects, to see small animals, and to understand, because we also measure the nitrates from water. And after we read about this, that a big quantity of nitrates are tell us that the water is not okay for the animals or for the other life, worms, for example, if they are living in water. After, in the same project, and this is the project, an Erasmus project, Take Care, Sustainable Children, Sustainable Earth, where we have a lot of investigation in real life, in nature. Another activity was studying biodiversity into the schoolyard. You can see also my students wear masks, because we wear masks also during the outside classes. And here we go into the schoolyard and we analyze the insects. Using Magnificent, we discover insects in our schoolyard. We put in these glasses, and using the worksheets of investigation, we discover the body of the insect. We analyze the comportment of the insect, and they are very, very curious to discover everything, because there was different insects, and everybody was very happy to present the insect at the end of the activity. Another project, Erasmus project, that we have done using STEM and the literacy here was soft skills for a better life. And the greatest activities that we have done was to read books and to make experiments to understand some concepts of the book. For example, in the first photo, when you see here the girls with the hands in this cup with ice, we have read a book. It was Lars and the Husky. It was about a bear, a white bear from the North Pole that had met a dog. And because they don't have a house to sleep during the night, they build they start to build an igloo. So we also build an igloo with the students, but we also discover that animals from North Pole have an adaptation to live at that temperature. And we have done this experiment using some gloves. They put the hands in some, I don't remember the word. Emese, if you can help me. It was some grasime, the pork. I can't remember the word. I will remember and I will tell you. And the student using gloves put the hand inside that bag and after put the hand over the eyes. And they understand that part of the body protects the body from the cold of the winter from the North Pole. And in this project, we have read 10 stories. Another story was Rapunzel. I know that you know the story. And as you remember, Rapunzel had to go out from the turn where she was closed. So students have to create to help Rapunzel to go out from the turn, and they build different objects to help her to go out. They create different objects using her hair. They prepare a big file to go on and to go out from the turn. And in all the stories that we have read, we try to discover that situation to stimulate the creativity of students. We discover the problem and they have to find other solution different from the story, because we have read stories that some students know them, so they know the final of the book. So we have to find different final of the book and to invent, to create something to change the final of the book, but using this STEM methodology. And if you need the book, it is this book with stories is on our website of the school, because it is the final product of the project, and also the activities from Take Care with the investigation from water and biodiversity, and also the activities from literacy and STEM. I will put the link for my website and you can download from there. We go on with the digital competence. And as you know, digital competence, it is very important in AReTwinning, because without technology and without digitalization, we can collaborate. So when I talk about digital competence, we talk about collaborative tools. I think you know that there is a lot of collaborative instruments, starting from Google instruments, and after using Padlets, using Miro or other tools where students can meet and collaborate together to create something. When we are talking about digital competence, we are talking about safety. It is very important to make students understand that internet can be a safe space if they take in account some rules. Because, as you know, at the beginning of the project, we fix some netiquette. Students have to use right vocabulary to demonstrate respect from each others and to collaborate very well with the partners. And also we have them to make them understand that on internet there is a lot of fake news, and we have to do activities and to help them to discover this situation. Also about digital, we are talking about use, access, filter, evaluate, create, program, and share digital content. If they want to collaborate, we have to help them to use this application. I have to tell you that when we start the pandemic, most of the students of our school, they are able to use all the tools that some of the students from other schools, they didn't know till when we start to use Google Classroom or other platforms to connect to each others. We know these instruments and these platforms more before, because we discover them during the AReTwinning and during the Erasmus projects. And I think it is very important to digital, when we talk about digital, to talk also about coding and programming. And here you have a photo where we teach students to create, using Tinkercad, to create objects for 3D printer, because we have also a 3D printer in our school. And we using the intergenerational collaboration, older students teach the younger one how to use this program to create objects in Tinkercad. And now about the personal, social, and learning to learn competence. As I told you from the first project, The Very Hungry Bookworm, we study two stories, Stick and Stone, and also It's Not Fair. Stick and Stone was written about from Beth Ferry, and have a lot of students can learn a lot about self-confidence. And also It's Not Fair. There are two stories, very, very interesting, and I recommend you to use them with your students, because you can find there a lot of information that can help students to be more confident, to be more happy with them. And when we are talking about personal and social competence, I think it is very important to talk about to learn and work both collaboratively. Using AReTwinning and Erasmus, we have to collaborate with partners, but we have to teach our students to collaborate between them, to put them a lot to work in teams, in pairs, because this is this competence to work together. It is very important from for when they will become adults. So give them the opportunity to work and to collaborate together. And for example, always in my class, I mix the groups. I don't let them to stay in the same group, because in this way they know each other better. For example, when they are younger, they prefer to work girls with girls, boys with boys. And when I start to mix the groups, and they meet at homes, or they stay in class after when we finish the program, they discover they can work very well, also girls with boys. So give them the opportunity to create. I put them to create posters, to create drawings, different activities, but put them to work together. And when we talk about the personal and social competence, we are talking about the confidence and feel empathy. Here you can see a lot of toys, and these toys was collected from students because during one project, we have a story about collecting toys and give them to children. They don't have them. So we put this, implement this activity in our school. We collect toys from students. And after we make packages and send them to other children. They need more students from kindergarten or for primary school. And our students feel very well that they can help. So it is an idea of activities to develop this competence. When we are talking about citizenship competence, we are talking about the social and cultural lifestyle, about sustainable lifestyle. And you can see here some activities from our project Take Care, when we create with different material, recyclable materials, different objects for Christmas, for spring, flowers. We create a lot of some layers to put inside the school, but we are talking about the gender equality. And if you can see here a photo about one activity that we have done online, because it was after the pandemic and we can't do them at school. One project was to create green cities using Minecraft, and students and boys, girls and boys working together using Minecraft, they create green cities with green energy, and they create great cities. Boys know better this program Minecraft, so they have to teach girls how to work in Minecraft. And it was at the end, all the girls are very enthusiastic that they can do the same thing that boys have done and can play the same games that boys play. And also the second project was to create some objects with their names for using a 3D printer and also the Tinkercad program. So it was a great opportunity to make them understand that programming and gaming is not specific for girls or for boys. And also the responsibility for the environment. You can see here a photo when students visit a recyclable center. And it was maybe the start of the discussion that we have to collect the rubbish, to select everything and not to go there because they was impressed when they visit this center. The smell is not they expect. So they understand that it is very important to make a correct selection of rubbish at home. The next competence is about entrepreneurship competence, as this means turning idea into action. For example, we have in the first project, the twinning that I told you before, the very hungry bookworm, in the bookshelf of art, we read the book Iggy Peg, Little Architect. And Iggy Peg was building bridges. So the first moment was to draw the bridge, and after to build. And students was very enthusiastic to create the bridge after the bridge they draw before, because they don't know from the beginning that they have to build. I told them that they have to draw, and after using the draw, they have to give to have it in front. They have to build the bridge. They build. We test the bridge if it is resistant, and if it is not, they have to build it again to reinforce it. And so in this situation, using different contexts, we give the students the opportunity to turn idea into action. Another activity that that we have done with students was to create a layout of a city. It was similar with the idea that I told you before, to turn the idea into action, but it's not only a bridge, this is an entire city. So they have to build, to create buildings, streets, quarter of the city. So they have a lot to work, they work together. And this activity developed this entrepreneurship competence and the ability to work both as an individual and collaboratively. It is very important to develop this in this competence. Here we have a team, 2 boys and 2 girls. They create a bird, an insect. This is the second part of the biodiversity activity. So in the first part, we go into the schoolyard and we investigate insects. And after we come into the class and using Lego we create insects and they work together. And the last competence, cultural awareness and expression. It is important when we collaborate with each other because we have to make students understand that we are a part from a big Europe and they are equal with the other. They have an opportunity to learn the same things that the other their colleagues learn in the other school from Europe. So in this way, they know about global culture. And this competence we can develop during the meetings. For example, we have done different flash mobs using different songs from countries. They prepare a flash mob, they send them to us. We learn also the steps from the dance or the songs, and we sing together carols. We dance traditional dances from countries. We learn, you can see here a photo using a tool of music, and using that tool, we can create music that they send it to us. We can know better the heritage and the tradition, and to accept the cultural diversity. For example, one activity that comes here in my mind, it is the intercultural Christmas. A few years ago, we have a project about Christmas that we developed in our school. And since then, every Christmas, the secondary students, the secondary classes, select one country before Christmas and present in a big celebration. And we celebrate together Christmas in different ways. Christmas from Italy, Christmas from France, Christmas from England, and so on. And in this way, students know better the culture and the tradition from other countries. This is the last slide that I presented to you. Hope you find here some idea and are a good practice for you, and you can apply with your students in your classes. Thank you very
Adriana,
much.
thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to look at all these interesting activities you have been sharing with us. I think that the participants agree with me. I really like the fact that you emphasized so many interesting activities that can be replicated in our schools, and you didn't skip any competence at all. So it was really interesting to see how you presented them. And while you were speaking, I created a Menti. It wasn't in the schedule. I was just thinking, since you have found the key competencies, 21st century competencies, I was wondering if there are some competencies that are specific for eTwinning. I've seen that all the competencies that we can find in the books, in the theory, you showed them with activities from your school, and it was really empowering. But I was thinking if the participants have in mind some competencies that could be considered specifically eTwinning competencies. So I created a Menti. Just a second, I'm sharing with you the link in the chat, and I will share the voting platform with the results. I'm really curious if there are specific competencies. I don't know if you could call them eTwinning competencies or not for teachers, or even for students, or even for teachers on eTwinning. Um, Here you have the list with the slide with the results. I'm really looking forward to come back to it to see if we can identify some of them, some of those that are specific for students, some of those that are specific for teachers, and why not? There is one final question related to competencies that are specific for Erasmus. If there is such a thing that like an Erasmus competence for myself, I'm a big eTwinner fan. For me, eTwinning is always connected with Erasmus. I can never think of them as being two different parts, but I'm really curious if you can spot out some differences. Um, I will leave the Menti open, and I will share my screen. Let's hope it's visible. Just a second.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. Let's hope it's okay. It's one thing to okay. Now it went back to the very beginning. So until you vote, since you requested a few times during the previous webinars to speak a little bit about the action research, today I'm trying to come up with some theoretical approaches related to that. And the most important thing about action research is the fact that it's a cycle. It's not something that you start and then you put aside and you consider it finished. Action research actually is your ability as a teacher to act as a researcher without having the burden of the scientific background. Action research means actually observing the reality, trying to come up with a plan related to that activity, putting in practice, making a difference in terms of your classroom, then reflecting again, and continuing with the next step. So actually action research is something you can do in your classrooms as a teacher, and trying to solve a problem that you have as a teacher in the classroom, a problem that the students have, a need, or a value that you really want to have it developed in your classroom. The term action research was suggested first by Kurt Lewin, and you have here the two images, the one with planning, acting, observing, reflecting, planning, acting, created by proposed by Lewin, and the revised one, actually showing the cyclicity, the multiple action steps that you can take in order to make this activity improved. Actually, it's a very, very simple thing. You go to your class, you observe what's happening there, you observe the need. It's not something that requires endless hours in the library, though it's very important to document your work. Action research is not something related to somebody patronizing, coming and telling you that what you do as a teacher is wrong. It's not even a thing like, okay, I as a teacher will change the world. It's an activity that's focused on questions you have and your students have, problems that you see and you want them solved. And yes, these activities are the ones that should be presented and documented as part of your work. I was telling you that teachers are researchers, but they don't have the burden of science. You're not a scientist. What's the difference? The main difference between action research and research, as we know it from university, is the fact that it's not that formal, that you as a teacher have the ability, and you are actually required to work and improve and change that plan until you finalize, until you manage to achieve what you wanted to change in your classroom. And that's impressive. That's the main benefit. You can focus on the target that you have identified with your students, and you can do this as part of the activities in your classroom, as part of the curriculum you are teaching, and you can also do it as part of the twinning project you are having, or as part of the Erasmus projects you have. Why as part of the twinning projects? Because we implement them, because we try to integrate them into curriculum. So twinning should be and could be taught to action research as well. Uh, Actually, there are only a few steps. It's so easy. Basically, you just go and find out what's the problem, what's the need, what's the value you want to improve, make the improvement plan, act on it. You try to implement the activities you wrote, and it's very, very important in action research. You have to document your work, and then just watch, listen, observe what the students are working. Try to document what are the changes in terms of implementing the activity. You discuss it with your students, with your peers, with your colleagues. And yes, you can change and adjust the plan as many times you need. That's the magic of action research. And after that, after the final reflection, if you see that it hasn't happened like you were expecting it to be, you go back and implement the second and the third and the fourth, and how many changes you want to have there. And it's very important, the last step, the one that we as teachers usually don't I don't know, don't use it as much as we should. And I think that we should document our work. Share your findings. You should write about the activities. You should write about the data you have collected as part of the action research. You should write about the magic activities you have been doing, and about the competencies the students have developed as part of these activities. So it was that easy in the classroom and as part of twinning projects as well. Also, I want to share with you a template you should or you could use to plan your action research, because you always have a plan. You have this template provided by School Education Gateway. There was a course provided by EU Academy, um, and you should focus on these parts. Introduction is just a general overview of the context in which the intervention you will try it will happen. What's the school settings? How's the classroom environment? What the level of the students, profile, and so on. The focus. What's the area that you would like to improve? What's the direction in which you are trying to make a difference as an action researcher? What's the purpose? What's the meaning? What's the motivation? What is that you have noticed that's not happening in your school, in your class, and you want it to change? It can be something like Adriana was speaking about sustainability and life skills. It can be something simple related to encouraging some behaviors of your students in the classroom, and to try to make those happen. You write the driving question, the research question, you describe it. Then you have to present the steps of the intervention, how you will implement all you have in mind. How will you collect the data? What are the methods? What are the tools that you will use? How will you take into consideration the ethical aspect? And how will you use where will you speak about what you have discovered? How will you, let's say, disseminate? How will you spread the good word about your findings? It's not complicated at all. It's a simple draft of what you can do as an action researcher. And to be more specific, here you have a rubric explaining the criteria, the descriptors that should be taken into consideration. So in part of introduction, it's important to describe extremely well the context in which the action research will happen. As many things about the school, about the class, things that are very simple and clear for you since you teach in that class, but activities that should be explained for somebody from the outside. Then what's the focus? How easily is that to be understood? How the researcher stated that in the research plan. As well, for the research questions, it has to be short, it has to be easily able to be investigated. How clear is the plan you try to implement? What methods have you chosen, and if those methods are appropriate for the age level of the students, for the question you have identified as a research question. Also, did you take into consideration the risks that could occur as part of your action research plan? How do you try to avoid those? And also, what will you do with the data? What will you do with the findings of your research? And that's it. After you implemented your action research, you could write a report, or you could write an article, and that report or article should have exactly those points: the abstract, the keywords about your action research, presentation of the activities, literature review, because after you have observed and studied the literature regarding your problem, then you should also document that methodology used, and also what have you discovered, what's the novelty, and what has changed in terms of not just data, in terms of students' behavior, in terms of proposed activities, and what's the conclusion. it's it's simple, it's similar to any research we are running and presenting. And I was trying today not to be that theoretical. I have here a presentation of an actual research we have been developing as part of an Erasmus project. We just finalized. It was a KEA 229 project, EU tourism, and we were focusing on 21st century skills. So this is why it seemed to be a good choice, completely in completing with the topic which we have chosen today. This is just the PowerPoint presentation of it. The article will be also linked in the presentation. It was sent and published as part of the Education Reflection Development Conference proceedings last year. So I just want to show you that I really follow those steps of action research, and I try to use those bullet points as I was saying that are important in a report or in an article following an action research. Why? Because it's very important to speak about the activities that are happening in your classroom, because otherwise nobody will know about those, and nobody will benefit other than your students, and that's a pity. So we try to emphasize the importance of our Erasmus project for developing 21st century competencies. I was thinking as a researcher in the beginning that some competencies are more important than what I discovered in the end after I collected the data from students. So that's why for me personally, now it became very, very clear that without data, I'm just a person with an opinion, and that I should always collect the data, because the data is really, really important and helps me and the students to grow and to become more competent. I won't explain again what the competencies are, but as part of the article, I reviewed the literature and I try to come with definitions of competencies. What are competencies? How are they presented in literature? And I have here some definitions from the Praxeological Dictionary of Pedagogy, the Romanian National Education Law, and also I have here a presentation of the key competencies, the way they were defined by the European Council, and the way that Adriana mentioned that are a combination of knowledge and skills and attitudes. All of those should be and could be developed as part of the project, maybe sometimes more than as part of our classroom activities. After the review of the literature, I posted here, I presented, I detailed these competencies and skills, and I presented them in the article. Then I focused on the objective of the project of the article. I presented then in the introductory part, I was telling you that it's very, very important to speak about the context in where the action research is implemented. So I presented the project partners, the timeline of the project. Here you have an image with some activities from the project and naming the partner schools. And then here you have the questions that were explored as part of the research. We had 2 research questions. What skills and competencies have students from Petru Rareș National College Beclean and the partner schools developed due to the implementation of this Erasmus project? And which activities are most enjoyable for students participating in these kinds of activities, virtual and face-to-face mobilities. I presented then the research methods which were used in the project, the observation, the analysis of products of activities, of activities from each partner school. And I wrote here the number of participants and students and teachers from each of the schools. So here you have the presentation of the project and also the beloved twin space that I am missing so much. Because for me, every Erasmus was also on a twinning. As Adriana also mentioned, for us as ambassadors, it's very important to have them like that. You have the project activities here, some pages with twin space collaboration of the students from the 6 schools, online English lessons, and learning, teaching, training activities that they have been participating to and that were also documented as part of the twin space. Also, you have here images from the virtual mobilities that they were preparing. This, for instance, is from Health and Balance Tourism, the preparatory visit to Romania from last year. So a few images from the twin space, and then we can get to the research and data collection and how that was done. And we have chosen to have interviews and to complete the observation sheets. I was telling you how important it is in action research to buy the journal and to try to document your work more than ever. You need those observation sheets. You need to see in terms of behavior, in terms of competencies, of abilities, of involvement, of collaboration of students, what's happening in the classes. And we also encouraged our students to do the same. Not just teachers had these tasks of observing the activities. Students were requested to have the diaries for each mobility. So we had some project journals after each learning, teaching, training activities, and also we had collaborative activities and use of twin space in terms of forum on the eTwinning platform. This is one of the final products. You can see here a collaborative game that was designed for tourist guides and animators, but basically it's a Canva which contains all the collaborative activities done by the students on the topic of tourism and using their English vocabulary. The data collection was through a questionnaire-based survey. It was a questionnaire for students and one for teachers. And we also tried to reflect on the legislative and curricular documents in each of the involved schools. We tried to observe and analyze the final products in terms of content created, like online portfolios, twin spaces, the resources students have been creating together, but not just in terms of content, but also in terms of quality of the work. I was telling you how important it is to document it from the beginning and continuously, so we had continuous observation of their work and the learning diary of participants. You have here an image from the previous twin space where those were posted by each of the students. And now let's present a few data. At the end of the project, 52 students from the partner schools answered the questionnaire that contained 45 questions, and those were focusing on activities, on competencies they developed. And here you have a few screen captures with their free answers. They mention speaking and listening, pronunciation, but also social skills, English. Then going to the activities that they were taught as part of the project. And the part of the activities that the part of the learning, the learning activities, they speak about cultural things, but also somebody is writing here that I improved as a person. And it's very, very important that they don't focus on those competencies and abilities that we as teachers think that they have developed. They really try to and they really showcase some things. I wasn't even considering when I started the action research that they will happen. They like the interactive activities, and as you can see, the collaborative tasks more than anything, and also the mobilities. So the mobilities that they were able to have as part of the Erasmus activities were their favorites. They develop personal, social, and learning to learn competencies. That's what students chose as part of their answers. Um, our project was a project focusing on language learning and tourism related vocabulary. So the STEM competencies are the last ones, or maybe we didn't choose the appropriate activities to focus on those, but it wasn't our objective. But you can see that cultural awareness, citizenship competence, and digital competence, the one that I as a teacher was expecting to be in the top for my students. It was an important competence that they developed, but it wasn't the priority. It wasn't the main one. So this is really important for me as a teacher, because I don't know how many times in a real classroom context am I really aware and able to develop these learning to learn competencies. So if my research, if my project managed to do that for them, it means that it was a success. And I was thinking about the Erasmus, the Erasmus competencies that could be that some of them could be really considered as being really truly Erasmus competencies, because they have also the mobility part. The students who involved in our projects really develop the key competencies, gain the skills that will help them be aware as citizens, and I don't know, be prepared for the following jobs that they will have as young adults. So this was really important, not in terms of tourism, but in terms of intelligent use of all these knowledges gained in the project. So here you have the conclusion, the recommendations, and the conclusions of the article. We helped the students develop personal skills, life skills, and key competencies, and the activities that they carried out as part of the project. What's very important for me is the fact that AReTwinning and Erasmus really enrich lives and really have the capacity to open minds for students and for teachers participating in these kinds of activities. So in this knowledge, I encourage you all to start having gaps on research, not just as part of your school activities, but also in terms of AReTwinning and Erasmus project. I will stop sharing my screen in a few seconds, and I will share you the feedback link. You have the QR code, but I will also share it in the chat in 1 second. I will wait for those who have the phone prepared. But I want first to remind you that we are there, we are on the platform, and that there is a place for interactive activities as part of the group's activities. There are pages with the recordings of each of the activities we had this year, and we are really hoping to gather back the previous recordings as well, and the previous pages which are still missing. Until then, we are waiting for you all on the platform. I will stop the recording. I will thank you for the time and the AReTwinning energy, and I will share with you the feedback form. And I think that we both are ready for questions. If there are questions related to action research, if there are questions related to key competencies, or if there are any questions related to the eTwinning or the Erasmus activities, we would be more than happy to answer those. Just a second, I didn't copy the correct link. The link is not here. Please tell me if it's working. Perfect. And until you complete that, let me just go back to the Menti we shared before and share it with you to see what are the competencies that you have identified. Just a second. Okay. So multilingual competencies, digital competencies, linguistic competencies, social, teamwork, communication, digital competencies, collaboration, empathy, STEM competencies, social, emotional competencies, really nice. And in terms of eTwinning competencies of teachers, you have identified the professional competencies, which is amazing. I personally consider eTwinning my professional learning network the best, the one and only, the place that I, as a person, I've learned so much, and I've grown into a better teacher. So I'm glad that you you also value these competencies. And in terms of Erasmus competencies, I'm really curious if there are different views regarding Erasmus and eTwinning. If the fact that we have the mobilities contributes to different competencies. So if you feel like adding to that also, I would be really, really glad. I will stop the recording. Thank you, Adriana. Thank you so much for being today here with us. In this moment, we are 47 participants. I will add in the slides. The slides will be visible on the new platform on ESEP, so you can use them and reuse them for your needs. Also, the recording will be posted there. I am glad and honored. I'm glad and honored that I had a chance to be here with you today. We will meet again on the 8th of May. It's going to be the conference with the recording and with the slides and with the feedback form. I will also send you any information about that as well. I will give the floor to Adriana to say goodbye, and then I will stop the recording. Thanking you again.
Thank you, Emese. It was a great experience to hear and to learn about the older students, because as I was talking about the smaller one, so you have done a lot of great things, and congratulations to students, and first of all, congratulations for you and for your colleagues. Thank you very much for this invitation. I'm very grateful that there is a lot of colleagues together with us today. And I think we will go on with collaboration. You can find us when you need. We try to be in contact with all the person who need help. So when you need something, please write to us, and we try to help you and to give you the best answers that we can. So thanks again, and it was a great experience and a great moment for this day.
No, that's the eTwinning spirit.
Someone want to send again the...
I will resend the form in 1 second. Thank you for your time and eTwinning energy. Have an amazing day.